So, let's talk about it. Shout out to Joe Goodberry on Twitter for posting this. But I need to go ahead and just kind of break this down and give my thoughts and opinions on everything. So, excuse me, my voice is a little weird right now. And the diet part of the NFLPA survey might be the most worrisome when it comes to players' performance. And if you guys did not see my video yesterday looking at this, they released the NFLPA released the surveys from the players. Keep in mind, these are from the players who are voicing their concerns about their said team depending on certain categories. Like weight rooms, strength room, coaches, head coach, weight room coach, strength coaches, cafeterias, bathrooms, etc. Right? There's a whole entire list. And one of the things that was really a problem for us, right, was the fact, I was about to sneeze for a second, was the fact that we came in F- for nutrition and dietitian. And I know I saw some comments down below in my comment section, and I see some comments here. And I do understand the narrative that a lot of people have where it's like, come on, man. These are millionaires. All of these players are millionaires. You're telling me they can't hire their own nutrition or dietitian? They can't make their own food? They can't have their own stuff set up? Like, they have the money to hire someone just to do this all for them. They don't even have to do anything. And while that is very true, right, and it is obviously one of the situations where it's like, you're a millionaire, you can't do this for yourself, come on now, you don't need a team doing this for you. I think the problem really stems from every other team in the NFL already offers this for free. And that's the issue, right, is that it's also the convenience, it's the quickness, and it's also the fact that everyone else in the NFL offers it for free. So while, yes, they are millionaires and they have the ability to do all this other stuff, this is more or less for the NFL players, okay? And keep in mind, NFL players here. It's more of a right for them to have this. That's less than a luxury. So that's the biggest problem with what they have a problem with. And, you know, what the whole situation is breaking down to. Because I get it, again, like I said, yes, I know they're millionaires. Yes, I know they have the money to do this all by themselves. And yes, I understand the perspective of, they shouldn't be complaining about this. They have the ability. I get that. But at the end of the day, if every other team's offering this, if every other team is making this almost to a point where it's mandatory, you need to kind of fill in to those standards if you're Cincinnati here. You gotta, equal this. And this has been 2 years now where back-to-back years, since the survey started, we don't know how far back before this, probably never, honestly, is that this has been a problem. And it still hasn't been fixed, it still hasn't been addressed, and it's probably not going to be addressed. I think this is kind of one of those things when it comes to also like with the family bathrooms being a problem, where there is no area for you to change your diapers for your kid. And yeah, it would cost them pretty much nothing to add an area in there so you can have like a little diapers changing station for families or mothers who have kids. At the end of the day, it's a principle, I feel like. And I feel like that's what really a lot of this comes down to. It's principle. They could do it. It wouldn't cost them that much money, and it would actually benefit them as a team, for overall wise. But it's more the principle of they don't want to do it. And they would be going against their own principle by doing it. So that's what it really comes down to, I feel like, for some things. Anyway, though, as it says right here, only 19% of players feel like they're getting individual plans, 32nd overall. Now, I'll say it like this for that first point. I'm going to go through these each point by point. That first point, I feel like you could make the argument that, well, some, even though they're millionaires, right? They might not know the best nutritionist to go to, right? They might not know the best nutritionist to use. And if that's the case, then they're kind of SOL'd because most teams have a guy that's like, hey, listen, this is our guy. He's the best. He knows what he's doing. He's perfect. He's going to make sure your body's okay. He's going to make sure everything's good. He's going to make sure you're performing at the top level. And that does impact player, play. It does. It impacts their growth and their development. So that's a problem. Unlike nearly every other team in the NFL, the Bengals do not have an employed full-time dietitian, and that kind of goes to the first point there. Whoever the player is, every player on the Cincinnati Bengals have to outsource to another third party to try to get a dietitian, which, again, I know they're millionaires, but it's one of the things, what if they get a bad one? What if they get a bad dietitian and it hurts them, or it hinders their play and they get injured, or their body's not right or ready to play for a game? So there's all situations why teams provide this. The team dietitian received the lowest overall grade of any dietitian in the league. I just think it's a principle if they don't care about it. I think that's what it really comes down to, is they just don't care. As an improvement from last year, the team decided to offer dinners to players once a week. This, I'm so on the fence about. Dietitian, nutrition, I get it. I understand. It's important. The whole offering food once a week to play, or dinners once a week to players, it is a nice thing to do. It really is, right? And I know all the other teams in the NFL does it already, and they do it too. I think that's a little bit of a nitpick. And again, I understand respectfully, you taking care of your players, you want to honor them, you want to give them love and support, and I get that. But I feel like that's more of a luxury type of thing. I don't feel that's a necessity. I feel like you can always go out and get your food, you can always do whatever and get fed. Like, one of those things where it's like the teams goes out of the way to do that. That could be like a celebration type of thing. Maybe, I'm honestly speaking wise, I thought that would be like a once a month type of thing. Like, once a month we all come together and we all chill and we all talk and we go through a whole entire thing. Because once a week, I'm surprised they do it once a week. They ranked 30th in overall in food taste. Yeah, I don't think they understand the point. They don't want you to eat there. I think what this is really coming down to is they don't want you to eat at their facility. They want you to go elsewhere to get their food. So that if they do, they have an option if you need to eat there. But if you want to eat, they want you to go somewhere else. I think that's really what this comes down to. They're 31st ranked in overall food freshness. That's a problem. That right there is a problem. That might be a health inspector type of problem. I'll be honest with you. The health inspector might have a problem with that one. But yeah, I really think it's the point of they don't want you to eat there. They want you to eat somewhere else. So they have the option because they feel like, okay, well, we have to at least give an option. But they're like, we're just going to put crap out there and hopefully they don't eat it and they go somewhere else. And if they don't eat it, we just leave it there all day. They only provide 3 meals a day on Wednesday. One of the two teams that do not provide 3 meals a day throughout the week. And again, like I said, I understand that, and I think that's more of a luxury. But I think it's nice if a team does provide that. I just will say that it's one of those weird situations, right? Because like the player doesn't want to have to leave the building after working out, after being all sweaty and disgusting, and then go out to a restaurant or another place to get food and get mobbed by fans, and it's a whole bunch of issues. They'd rather just be there as they are there and eat their food and then go back to work. And it's also the quick cycle of like eat, workout. You have that quick, you're not losing time, right? By going out, you're losing time. And I do understand that, truly understand that. But I feel like, again, like I said, it's one of those things where I said I don't want to be like heartless, like pack your lunch. But in a way, it's kind of like pack your lunch. Meal prep and pack your lunch. I don't know. I like I said, I don't think this is that crazy big of a deal. I think it would be nice if Cincinnati did go ahead and offer it, but I don't think it's a deal breaker. I think this is one of those situations where it's like, okay, if they want to offer this is nice of them to offer, but I don't think it's a necessity that they offer that. If you don't want to go out and buy your food and go out there and, get food, then meal prep. I mean, they still give you a place to eat, right? They still give you a cafeteria to eat, meal prep, and work with a dietitian, I guess, if they're not going to provide one. Work with your own separate dietitian. Get a meal prep every single day for 7 days a week. Pack your lunch. take it with you. And, obviously eat your food when you had to eat and then go back to work or go out and eat somewhere else or, go out and get food delivered, right? There's always options. Again, yeah, I understand that other teams do it, and awesome that other teams do it. And again, like I said, I'm not trying to be heartless of like, oh, they don't deserve it. No, they deserve it because obviously they're our players and we love our players. But I'm saying I understand the perspective of why Cincy doesn't do it. Because they don't want to spend the money / the time and effort to do all this. But I will say I don't think this is like there's problems when it comes to these when it comes to this survey that you're like really concerned about. But this is a problem. Like this, I don't think this is not as big of a problem as having a changing area in a bathroom for a mother with a child. That's a problem. Like that. I think it's just principle. They won't do it because of principle, because it doesn't cost them that much to fix. That's the problem. I think this is more of a inconvenience. Okay, inconvenience. No changing room for the mother. Problem. Inconvenience. That's what I think is the problem here. One's a problem. One's the inconvenience. They only provide, they do not open their cafeteria on off days, even though players are coming in for extra work on that day. And again, like I said, I think this is all them being cheap. I really think it's all them being cheap. Again, it's all things that they could offer as a nice, thing for the players, but they are very cheap when it comes to this kind of stuff. And they're not going to do this. Yeah, again, like I said, I'm not saying it's right for them not to do this. I'm saying that I understand the perspective. And you can always understand perspectives in life, even if you don't agree with them. But I think a lot of this stuff is, inconvenienced the players. And it's not right to inconvenience any player. The dietitian stuff, this could be actually bad, really bad, depending on, if the player doesn't get the correct dietitian or not, or nutritionist. That could be a real detrimental problem. This is all inconvenienced. It's all inconvenience. I don't really think it's a detrimental problem. I think it's an inconvenience type of situation. And I think it would be nice and it would be, good of the team. But I don't think it's one of those things where it's like, oh my lordy, this is the worst team in football because they don't offer these things. I don't think that. I think the problem with bathrooms is a big problem. Players, so players, what they want, what most other teams have, 3 meals a day. I'm going to home on the fact that you got to pack your lunch, my guy. Food prep and pack your lunch. I get it that you're like, well, they shouldn't have to. I get they shouldn't have to do that, but it is what it is, right? And if they're not going to change, where Cincy is not known for being a team or organization that likes change, then you gotta pack your lunch, meal prep 3 times a day. The cafeteria to be open and operating on players' off days, that would cost them some money. And Cincinnati does not like spending money. Which, based on what the players said before, they said that the food is crap anyway. And it's not fresh. And it's just dog crap. And if that's the case, then, do you really want dog crap available? I think really what this comes down to is food prep and meal prepping for the week. And I know you're like, well, they have to work out all the time. They don't have time to do this. They're always at the facility, And I get that. And then sometimes, like, if they're during the season, they're on the road. So it's like they don't have time. I guess, no, this is like at their cafeteria, so never mind. They can just go home if they want. They go home at the end of the day. Yeah. Like I said, it's things that I feel like Cincinnati could improve on and fix. I don't think everything is the end of the world. And I think some of this stuff, and again, like I say, I'll repeat this fact, I think some of this stuff is just principle. Some of this stuff is they don't want to change, and it's not really a fact of they can't. It's a fact of they don't want to. And they are kind of living on principle of saying, we're not going to spend the extra money to do A, B, C, and D because we don't believe that that's necessary. We believe, as I said before, a lot of this stuff is inconvenienced. And we understand that they're upset that it's inconvenienced, but we're not spending the money to make it more convenient. So, which again, I've always Yeah, I know this video. I've been very much like I haven't. I am very much pro player, right? I love when players are taken care of and players are getting the best, especially because the best you give the best to the players, they give the best back to you in the field. But I will say I think certain things have to be a compromise, and I think that that's what it comes down to a certain degree. And you know, I'm saying other teams offer these things and they're great and everything, but if Cincinnati is gonna stick to their guns and refuse to do this, then there has to be somewhat of a compromise between the players and the organization that somewhat comes together and said, okay, well, if this is going to happen, we need A, B, C, and D, and we're okay with not accepting this, and this, right? And I think there needs to be some type of communication, because clearly there is no communication at all, and this is kind of a mess. But tell me down below your thoughts, opinions. I'll see you guys next one. Peace.